Now, this thing up here, like I said earlier, shows a lot more than just hours, minutes, and seconds. If I push the record level display, this becomes a left and right meter. And when you have the arrow here, that is where you're pegging, as we used to say in radio, which is hitting 100%. And by the way, this number here is your record mode setting, your record level setting. Let's go in the stop mode. Let's go into the tuner mode, which is channel 3. Yeah, you have to push a button for everything here. Hit the record level, and as you remember, I said these up and down arrows control these 3 up here. The arrow up is increasing this number thing up here and stops at 100, and this of course is your record level. You can see it's getting louder and louder and louder, and it stops at 100. I keep it, I think, somewhere around 55 to 60 for most TV stations. Okay, there we go. So this is for both tape playback and your record level. Then once you set that, you push this little OK thing down here, and it goes back to your normal display. Let me show you a few interesting things about this display up here. Let's rewind the tape. And like I said, this gives you messages. If the tape is at the beginning and you hit the rewind, guess what it says? The tape is at its start. Meaning you can't rewind it, fool. Do something else with it. And every message that scrolls here scrolls twice for some reason. Okay? So that's one message. Let's eject the tape. Now once you've ejected a tape, you can't eject it again. I push the eject button, look what happens. Please put in a cassette. And again, this will scroll twice. There we go. Now, say you have a tape that has the record tab punched out, which is what I'm doing right now, so you cannot erase this tape. Okay, let's put this tape in and see what happens. I'm in macro, by the way, so I know this focus probably isn't the best. Okay, let's push the record button and watch what happens. It's ejecting the tape. You can hear the motors going. Please change the cassette, because obviously you cannot record on it. Okay, we saw what happens when a tape is at the beginning and you try to rewind it. What do you think would happen when a tape's at the end and you try to fast forward it? Let's find out. Here's the tape at the end. Let's push the fast forward button, and it's scrolling yet another message. The tape is at its end. Therefore, you cannot go into play, record, or fast forward because you got no tape left. Let's rewind it a little bit and see what happens. For a second. We have a tape in the play mode. Let's see now what these buttons do. Here's your playback level. Here's your tracking. And again, by moving the arrows here, you can move them up or down. And notice when I start using this, the auto tracking light goes off. It's automatically defeated. If I want to put it back on, I push it down here, it flashes, and it goes to over there. That's where it said, the machine says the tracking should be. But it's not always foolproof, I found out. There's your tracking. Here's the sharpness. I have it set on kind of soft right now. Here's soft and sharp. There's the OK. Here's some of the other stuff up here. Buzzer on or off. Tape length. This is again for your time remaining. The 3 popular lengths. Edit on or off. I keep it off because it's a little bit less grainy of a picture. Audio monitor. You can monitor the hi-fi track, a mixture of the hi-fi and linear track, or the normal track, the linear track only. Okay? Push OK and it goes back to the counter. Down here, command mode is VTR 1, 2, or 3. I keep it on 2. Auto stereo for the built-in tuner, on or off. Of course it's on. CATV on or off. And of course SAP is off. We are now recording, as you can see by the REC up there, which used to be the arrows, unless you're in the record mode. Here's the record level. I'm recording channel 3, and again I can increase or decrease the volume. You gotta touch these buttons square on, otherwise you might miss. Here's something interesting when you're recording, and again this is another message that this machine scrolls. If I try to touch the tracking control, look what we get. VCR is recording. Yet another message scrolling up on this display. And again, it scrolls twice. So when you're recording, you can't do a thing with the tracking, obviously. If you touch a sharpness control, you get the same message. VCR is recording. Can't do a thing about it. The only thing that will work is the level. This is the SL-HF2100 Beta, and I'm in a very low light condition here, but I want to show this big touchpad illuminated as well as I can. Very strange machine, and this apparently will be the last high-end Beta that Sony intends to produce, but knowing Sony, that could change too. Now let's go to something even more confusing about this machine, the remote control. This tells you you're going in 1/10 slow motion or 1/5 slow motion. You're going at twice normal speed, or at normal speed, or double speed. So again, this machine tells you the speed of your slow motion. There we go. And now just in straight play. Now I think there's a way to do inserts on this thing. Let me see if I can, boy, this looks a lot better with this high gain on, I'll tell you. Let's see if I can do some inserts here. Go into pause. Yeah, video insert and audio insert. Hit the pause. I also hit the time remaining by mistake. We're now doing an audio video insert. Go back and pause. Can probably take them out as well. There we go. The only thing I haven't shown you on this Betamax is when you first plug it in for the first time, it does say set the clock. But of course we can't do that now. Okay, one or two more things about the machine before we sign off here. I've been using the remote control from the SL-HF2100, which looks like this, because this remote jog wheel on here works with this 2100, which is kind of nice since of course it doesn't have one of its own. For example, if I put this thing in pause, it will pause, and if I go in slow motion, and this thing will work. I can go 1/5, actually I think it's, no, I guess it doesn't do 1/10, it goes 1/5 up to ×1, double speed, and then of course scan, and then we go right back into pause again. Nice thing is too, this has on the remote control something called auto playback, which is a button that you push, and if you're in the stop mode, it'll go to 000 and start playing. And the nice thing is, where it says channel 3, it becomes auto, and it will go back to 000 and start playing all by itself. There's an index scan, which of course you can use, and I think it goes up to like 19 index points like most betas do. You go in the stop, of course it disappears. Sony says there's a way of cleaning this touch panel here when it gets too many fingerprints on it. If you touch the power and the OK button at the same time, guess what? The whole display says panel off for cleaning, press power and OK. So this entire panel is dead right now. It won't do a thing because I intend to clean it.